What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 107 MMA channel. This is crazy. This story is crazy what happened with DC and Tom Aspinall, and I had to cover it. So if you guys don't know what went down, Tom Aspinall obviously is doing all the media obligations. He sat down and met with DC for DC's YouTube channel, and they had a conversation. They had a great interview. And then after the interview, Tom's team kept rolling tape, he had a hot mic on, and they were capturing a private conversation between Tom Aspinall and DC. And I don't know if people are talking about it in this respect, but yo, Tom Aspinall, this is like, he really threw DC under the bus. This is a very bad look. And I actually, for one, I don't blame DC whatsoever. And I'm going to explain why on all of this, because I feel like I actually do have some relevant experience here as a commentator for Fusion Fight League out of Montana. I know that, even if there's a hint of bias, I'm sure, Cormier gets harassed about his bias towards certain fighters all the time. But if there's a hint of bias, fighters can get upset, family members can get upset. It's not professional. You don't want to be talking about this fighter not being good. I mean, it's a bad look. I think anybody with any common sense would never want to say these types of things about fighters in your organization. Now, to DC's credit, I don't think he was trying to do that, but sometimes you're going to have private conversations, and maybe you feel a certain way in that safety of a private conversation. You may voice your opinion. I don't think this fighter is actually very good. Whatever. He's a fighter. He's an analyst. So I get that. But to then make it public, it's a really bad look. Think about it. These fighters are probably not going to want DC commentating for them. It's going to fray that relationship. It's going to put some undue pressure on the UFC from these other fighters. It's just a really bad look. You don't want to be talking this way about fighters in your organization. All right, so what am I talking about? I'm going to play this clip right now so you guys can see exactly what happened with this interaction. So Tom made this great video about doing all his media obligations, sitting down behind the scenes, talking to everybody. And then he released this. And dude, this is like, I'm sure Tom Aspinall has an editor that did this, but dude, that's messed up. Like, his editor should have known. And maybe I'm not going to blame Tom, because I'm assuming Tom's just like, yeah, just post whatever, do all the behind the scenes. His editor should have known that this was going to get DC in a lot of trouble. I would imagine. You got to be crazy not to think that. So listen to what happened here, and then we're going to talk about it some more. Check this out.
I was going to ask you about DC's fight. He said
DC's going to beat me up. I don't want it.
I would have just shot on it from like the other side of the octagon. And then
So this is the friendly kind of banter that they have behind the scenes. DC goes over and talks to Tom's dad. Everything's cool. And then you're going to see when DC brings him in close and starts whispering, because he doesn't want anybody to hear what he's saying. That's the part that was captured, and Tom released it and is totally throwing DC under the bus. Check this out.
I was coming for you too. The moment I was done shooting on him, I'm shooting for you too, coach. You think I'm gonna stand with you? I'm not standing with you, coach. Yeah, I'll take coach down.
These matchups in this division, like, what type of run you can go on?
Yeah, I know.
Be crazy.
Mhm.
You can, like, change your life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what is I'll name this fight, sir. Jailton can't fight.
Who do you think's going to win?
Jailton, I don't know.
I think Volkov, probably.
Yeah, but even hell, right? You beat him in the first
Yeah,
round. It can crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, you're on the verge of some crazy shit.
I appreciate it. I'm going to keep doing
working
my thing.
hard though.
Thanks, bro.
You gotta keep working hard.
Thank you. I will do. Will do. Listen, I'm working harder
It's like
now than I ever was.
When things like that, like, doesn't come around often, right? It's like when I got to fight Vulcan.
Yeah.
Defend the belt against Vulcan Ozdemir one time, man.
You couldn't believe your luck.
And I won the lottery, son. They were like, hey, man, we think we get to fight Vulcan. I'm like, yes. I'll take it.
Right, guys. See you later. Have a good day. Have a good day.
So again, he's making the comparison of when he had an opponent that he felt he was going to easily win. And he's like, yeah, sometimes you get a layup like that. But again, you can rewind and play the clip again. But if you caught that, the main things that DC said there that were controversial or that were a bad look is that, yeah, he said Jailton can't fight. That's one of the top five guys in your heavyweight division, the organization that is supposed to be the best on the planet. Like, it's a really bad look to be saying that a top 5 guy can't fight. Okay, number one. So that looks bad to the UFC that you're going to be talking about a top 5 fighter in that way. It hurts the brand. Now, I don't know if Dana White really cares. This is kind of a bit of a throwaway comment, but it's not a good look. Number two, he's basically telling Tom that And again, now that's going to color all the commentary when DC's commentating on them this weekend, next time he fights, because he just basically said he thinks that Tom is going to run through Jailton. He's going to run through Cyril is the implication. He's going to run through Volkov. He's like, oh, even if Volkov wins, you'll beat him, no problem. And then now that calls into question when he's calling the fight, right? Like, I'm not saying that's going to seep in. I actually think DC does a phenomenal job, but I'm saying fans are going to be outraged. The UFC is going to be upset. This is a really bad look. And the sad thing is, I don't blame DC. You can have opinions. You're all entitled to opinions. People say things behind closed doors, I'm sure, all the time. Maybe in the future, it might be better for him to just be like, all right, I'm going to be very strict about not saying anything potentially controversial when I'm at an event. Maybe that might be a more cautious protocol, but I don't really think it's DC's fault. But how could I just don't understand how Tom's team could do that. I feel like they really threw DC under the bus. Everybody's talking about those little tiny comments I'm sure everybody makes, and it is what it is. So I'm curious to see what happens. I'm curious to see if Tom talks about it as well or makes any sort of public statement, but what can he do? Even if he comes out and says, sorry, I released the footage, it doesn't take back what DC said. It's not going to take back the annoyance and anger from Jailton, Almeida, Volkov, and maybe Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane's so chill, he doesn't care, but that's kind of the implication as well, that I think he just thinks Tom is going to run through Cyril. I'm sure all these guys are not too thrilled with these types of things being shared. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on it. Yes, it's a problem because I think it goes against what the UFC is trying to project. Yes, it's a problem because you don't want to have out in the open biases if you're a commentator. And like I said, I know that a little bit from personal experience. So anyways, there it is. That's the video. Tom Aspinall wrecks DC, in my opinion, or his editor or his social media team. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Or do you guys agree with me that, Tom really shouldn't have done this? Or do you say, no, that was Tom. He should have known that everything was being filmed. They had a behind the scenes crew. This is totally on DC. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.